It was August 2002, and as a 25-year-old woman, I was faced with making one of the hardest decisions of my life. You see, I had 5 children, all under the age of 8. And it was at this moment in my life I was enrolled in nursing school. And I had decided, based on what I was experiencing in my marriage at the time, that I needed to make some changes. I was afraid. I felt lost. I felt forgotten by God. I felt forgotten by my family. But it was in that moment that I needed to determine that I had to have enough of something in order to move on. What was that something? That something, if I had to name it, is perseverance. You see, in that moment, I picked up time. I picked up all 5 children. I backed a Ryder truck onto my lawn of my 8-bedroom home and packed it up with all of our things and decided to move back into New York City. You see, in that moment, I felt so many different things, but the driving force was that I needed to do better, and I needed to get away from what I understood to be abuse. Some called me crazy. Some told me I would fail. Some told me I wouldn't make it. But in that moment, I knew deep down inside I had to choose me. I had to choose life. I had to choose my children. And so I persevered. And perseverance is literally doing something in the space of difficulty, doing something in the space of fear, doing something in the space of pain, doing something in spite of all of the odds being against you. Perseverance means pushing past what you think, pushing past what you feel, pushing past what you eat, what the circumstance appears like, and doing it anyway. You see, perseverance is what has enabled me to live all of the years I've lived and do all of the things that I've done and been successful in everything that I have been successful in and go on. I'm speaking to you today about perseverance. I'm sure you have situations and circumstances in your life that may want you to quit, that may want you to give up, that may want you to throw in the towel. I encourage you today to persevere. I encourage you today to push past all that you see, all that you feel, all that you know, and just do that which you need to do in order to move on. You see, in order for one to persevere, you need something called grit. And grit, when you think of grit, typically you think of sand and gravel, right? Something causing some level of abrasion or challenge to a person or a thing. When you think about pearls, the sand that gets in the shell of the oyster, that agitates it and causes it pain, produces this beautiful pearl. That same grit that I'm talking to you about is a mindset. It's a mindset that I had to adopt and adapt. It's a mindset that I had to determine that I would not allow anything to separate me from the goals. You see, there's a passage in the Bible that says, without a vision, the people perish. What is your vision? How do you see yourself? What is that thing that you are trying to achieve, that you desire, that you will not allow anything or anyone to stop you from achieving? You see, grit says that you have to have courage. Courage is looking at the obstacles and doing it anyway. Courage is determining within yourself that despite the fear, which is real, you're going to push past it and do it. You see, fear is something that everybody experiences. But I've learned over time that you can choose to have fear operate in different ways. You can take fear and make it an acronym. Face everything and rise. Rise above the challenges. Rise above the circumstances. Rise above the obstacles. And you can look at fear as false evidence appearing real. You see, the enemy of our lives that tries to prevent us from doing great things will cause us to look at our circumstances and look at our situations as if they are insurmountable. Those are false evidence that appear real. But when we face everything and rise, we do it anyway. We display that courage, which is a key component of grit. Being conscientious is another aspect of having grit. Conscientiousness says that we are aware of our surroundings. We are aware of the requirements that we have. We are aware of the requirements and what it takes in order to achieve that vision that we desire to have. We are aware of what we need to do, what fortitude we need in order to accomplish the goal that we've identified. Conscientiousness is being mindful of all the situations and circumstances around us. Perseverance is a part of grit. And I've spent a little bit of time on perseverance. And I encourage you to dig deep and find that thing that drives you. Find that thing that motivates you. Find that thing that tells you that you can't do a thing and push past it anyway. In order to have grit, you have to be resilient. I'd be lying if I told you I didn't get knocked down among this journey. I'd be lying if I told you that myself and my 5 children did not have challenges along the way. I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't shed tears. I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't hurt. I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't feel alone. I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't want to throw in the towel, but resilience demanded that I pushed on. My relationship with God said, I believed even when I didn't feel that He was with me, even though I didn't feel Him. My relationship with God said, I believed that His word when He told me that He would never leave me nor forsake me, but that He would be with me even until the very end. You see, resilience says that I can take a licking and keep on ticking. Resilience says that there is a bounce back in me, that I could make it even if I get knocked down. You see, the challenge is not in getting knocked down, but the challenge is getting back up. And every time you get back up, woman, you are being resilient. Lastly, for grit, it requires passion. The only way we choose to do is if we believe that it's deeply embedded. I have had the privilege to be mentored and loved and nurtured by passionate women. One of the passionate women that I've been able to be loved by was my grandmother. And my grandmother was a woman who, if she believed the thing, you wouldn't stop her. You couldn't change her mind. If you told her that the sky was blue, if she believed somehow that it was purple, and there was nothing that you could have changed that. I've been loved and mentored by a passionate woman who is my mother. My mother has a heart of gold. And her passion to help those who need her, her passion to help children who are in need is not missed on me. I've been motivated and encouraged and developed by women who have taken me under their wing. And so in turn, that has developed passion in me. In turn, that has caused me to reach out, to nurture, to mentor women and girls. And so even in that, I have a non-profit organization called Pearls for Promise. Pearls of Promise is an organization that looks at and helps hurting women who have overcome or who are overcoming life's most damaging and destructive situations. You see, as a survivor of abuses, as a survivor of emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. I have learned that perseverance and having grit is what matters the most in this life. And so my relationship with Christ, having perseverance, believing God's word, has allowed me to be the woman that stands before you today. You see, I am Dr. Akia Blandon, not because it was easy, but because I persevered. And so I thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you. Remember, perseverance matters. Being gritty matters. Taking that pain, utilizing that courage, being conscientious of what's happening around you, persevering and pushing past that which you know are challenges, being resilient and getting back up, and staying passionate about what you believe you will achieve is how we are all going to be successful in this life. Thank you for so much for allowing me to share with you.